Welcome to the Unique Indoor Comfort Customer Experience Training Program. During this video, you will learn the importance and value of advanced relationship building and communication skills. You will learn how and why customers may become uncomfortable or not okay with you, what signals to look for, and what steps to take in the event a customer does go not okay. Steps designed to reverse how they feel about you and the situation. When you're trying to build a relationship with a customer, your communication can either create roadblocks or building blocks. For example, when people talk to each other, they want to be heard, and more importantly, they want to be understood. When somebody feels understood, he or she feels comfortable with that person, and a bond develops from that feeling of comfort. Another factor that can contribute to relationship building is whether you make the customer feel okay or not okay about themselves. In other words, do you make them feel happy or insecure and anxious? You may have heard about the book by Dr. Thomas Harris entitled I'm Okay, You're Okay. The ideas expressed in this book are the basis for the okay, not okay principle. According to this book and the principle of okay, not okay, there are 4 positions people can take relative to one another. The first is I'm okay, you're okay. Both parties feel comfortable and good about themselves and the situation. The next is I'm not okay, you're not okay. Both parties feel uncomfortable and not good about themselves or the situation. I'm not okay and you're okay. I feel uncomfortable about the situation or myself, while the other person feels fine. This is often a situation prospective customers can create when they're concerned about being taken advantage of by a salesperson or service professional. And finally, I'm okay, but you're not okay. A situation wherein you feel good and comfortable, but the other person is not. A position we should diligently work to prevent and correct if present. When people feel okay, feelings include adequacy, being comfortable, happy, content, and confident. When people feel not okay, they feel inadequate, uncomfortable, vulnerable, unhappy, and dissatisfied. During interactions with customers, our goal is to avoid making them feel not okay. Causing them to feel not okay can quickly destroy any rapport we have established. So always let your customer preserve his or her dignity and maintain their okayness. It is our responsibility for ensuring the customer's okayness. The best way to approach this goal is to take an I'm okay, you're okay position and hold it. However, this can be difficult to do as there are many variables at work, intentionally or unintentionally. By our own actions, our own behaviors, we can unfortunately make the customer feel not okay in certain situations. Actions that can have such an effect and that should be avoided include rushing or pressuring the customer, talking down to your customer or prospect, asking overly intrusive questions, acting arrogant and cocky, not relating the information or questions to the customer's world, and above all, using jargon, buzzwords, and/or acronyms. Examples of verbal and nonverbal indications that the customer feels not okay include frowning, looking stern or perhaps confused, when the customer leans back in their chair with their arms crossed. Perhaps the customer is fidgeting excessively. The customer looks at their watch, or they hesitate to answer questions or respond in a very questioning tone. So how do you think someone feeling not okay regains his or her okayness? If a person is feeling not okay, the way he regains his okayness is by associating with or comparing himself to someone who is more not okay than he is. And one of the simplest ways for the customer to accomplish this is to simply get rid of you, obviously something we do not wish to happen. Therefore, we must control the environment and bring the customer back to a position of okayness. To reverse not okayness, first we must take full responsibility for being the real or perceived source of the customer's not okayness, and dropping our okayness level to a point lower than theirs, thus changing their relative okayness level compared to our own. This makes them more okay than we are. To do this, often we must struggle purposely as we have this conversation. In addition to struggling, we need to adjust to the customer's body language and tonality while we are asking questions. This includes paraphrasing and restating comments made by the customer that indicate his or her not okayness. And finally, ultimately stating how we will control and correct the problem. Struggling phrases that can be used include, I need your help. It's my fault. I take full responsibility. You appear upset. I'm surprised. I'm confused. Could you please help me? Here's an example that illustrates how you could bring a customer who is in a state of not okayness back to a state of comfort. Bill, I see by the expression on your face that I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this, and I'm sure that I've gone through this material much too quickly. You've been very polite about listening. Thank you. Would it be okay with you if I backtracked and explained this in a little bit more detail? Maybe you could even point out the specific areas I need to cover again. I'd really appreciate that. Notice how this is delivered in a slightly apologetic and concerned manner so that my not okayness is conveyed. In this example, I took responsibility for the customer's not okayness and even complimented him on being too polite to interrupt. This helps to preserve the customer's dignity. It also enabled the customer to see I was feeling not okay and allowed them to rescue me, because the natural tendency is to help when we see someone struggling. Let's go through another example. This time is a scenario where we did not do anything to make the customer feel not okay. Someone else or something occurred that made the customer not okay. We just happened to take the heat for it. Susan, I've been here for less than 2 minutes and I'm already sensing that you're upset. It must be something that I've said or done. Is that the case, or was there something that occurred before I even arrived? Again, notice the concerned manner in which it was delivered, conveying my sense or state of not okayness. In this example, I start to take responsibility for the customer's not okayness, but then open the door to the possibility that there is another source for not okayness. Now the situation is in the customer's hands. More likely than not, the customer will sense my discomfort and will attempt to rescue me by saying something like, oh, I'm sorry, it's been one of those days. To wrap up, some rules to guide your efforts and actions to keep customers okay and reverse their not okayness. 1, most people want to feel okay about themselves. 2, always let your customers preserve his or her dignity and their okayness. Number 3, the way people get to feel okay about themselves is to find somebody who is more not okay than they are. Number 4, the customer experience is not for you to get your needs met. And finally, when under attack, fall back. That concludes this training video. Thank you for your participation in this module. Don't forget to do your pre-work prior to class, and I'll see you in training.